The Sundarbans is one of the most dangerous places in the world. Tigers regularly hunt and eat humans. In this remote part of East India, park rangers take unusual measures, hoping to keep tigers away from the villages, hoping to keep predator and human prey apart. Whether this noisy attempt at animal control works is unknown. This extreme effort to keep tigers away from the villages of the Sundarbans is not duplicated in other tiger reserves in India. Here at Bandhavgarh National Park, villagers ring the tiger reserve, just as they do in the Sundarbans. But no one can remember the last time someone was killed by a tiger. The tigers here don't always keep to the boundaries of the park. They regularly enter this village in search of prey, but strangely, have never attacked people. Raising cattle is the primary livelihood here, but the herders have no concern for their personal safety when it comes to tigers. This tiger, B2, is the best-known cattle killer in Bandhavgarh. He leaves the park frequently in search of easy prey, but even though he often travels near the villages and comes very close to people, he has never attacked anyone. Every day, herders near Bandhavgarh take their cattle out to graze. They don't enter the park, but keep to the land just outside Bandhavgarh's boundaries. B2 and other tigers, of course, don't know where those boundaries are. When B2 sees cattle, what he sees is easy prey, no matter where it is. But when people are about, B2 is loath to attack. People make him wary. People keep him at bay. B2's most legendary hunt took him far outside the park. There he killed a large cow and dragged it back towards his territory. In a display of amazing strength, he threw the animal over a fence before feeding on it for 2 days. But B2 has never hunted people. His size, strength, and quickness is superior to any human. But he has never attacked. Claude Hadencourt went to India to see tigers firsthand. What he saw almost cost him his life.
The
tiger attacked the car while we were stopped. We were listening to the barks of the deer that announced the presence of the tiger. Everyone was listening carefully, and when we turned around, we saw the tiger on the road, about 200 meters from us.
Et on a pu même faire quelques clichés, quelques photos.
He got closer, and we could take a few pictures. We could see the tiger was beaten up or in an accident because he had a big wound on his lip and was missing some teeth. He was walking normally, but when he saw all the cars, he started to run faster and faster. And finally, when we least expected it, he jumped in our car. I was bitten on the arm and on the hand. And why the hand? When the tiger leaped on me, I fell back. And I instinctively protected myself with my arm on my head.
It was a terrifying attack, but a once-in-a-lifetime event. In the Sundarbans, though, the tigers hunt and kill humans regularly.
We are in the jungle, fishing, and we are looking for firewood to cook with. In the forest, I saw a tiger lying down. Then it suddenly jumped on my brother. The tiger ran off with my brother in his mouth. I followed him with my axe. And as I ran, I thought, what will I say to my mother or my brother's wife if I go back home without him? I decided to kill the tiger and bring back my brother. I kept running and was able to hit the tiger with my axe. The tiger dropped my brother and ran away. I picked up my brother and tried to bandage his head. I screamed for help, but nobody came. I carried my brother toward the shore, and as I walked, he died.
Why do these attacks continue? It's difficult to know what separates the tigers of the Sundarbans from those everywhere else in the world. There are several theories, but little hard proof. Some believe the water itself is to blame. Because the Sundarbans rest on the Bay of Bengal, the salt content of the water is quite high. Typically, tigers live inland and drink from freshwater lakes or streams. Here, tigers drink the salt water. And some believe that a constant diet of salt water has injured the tigers, putting them in constant discomfort. This pain, it's thought, has made them more aggressive. Fresh water ponds were dug to provide an alternative for the tigers, but the attacks persisted. While an intriguing notion, there has never been proof that the high salt content is behind the attacks on people. Another theory is also tightly bound to the waters here. Understanding the tides is crucial to fishing in the Sundarbans. In several hours, these nets will be covered with water and perhaps fish. The regular movement of the tides shapes the behavior of the fishermen. And some who study the tigers of the Sundarbans believe that tides may also make these animals unusually aggressive.
Another thing that's really difficult in the Sundarbans, and it's a problem for tigers, in that most of the area floods tidally twice a day, and then in the neap tides, the really high tides, almost all of the Sundarbans is flooded. And we really wonder where tigers den. They may have a problem finding a dry spot to den.
There is another theory that the tigers of the Sundarbans are more aggressive than others because conflicts that would be avoided through scent markings have to be played out. When the area floods, scent markings that define tiger territory are washed away. Aggression then becomes the only way to defend the territory. When the water recedes, The mud is left behind. Some believe this mud makes it more difficult for the tigers to hunt, so they resort to easier prey, man. Another theory suggests that tigers don't knowingly hunt humans. Making a living in the Sundarbans is back-breaking work. Collecting firewood or rigging nets means constant stooping and bending. Some experts believe that in this vulnerable position, tigers can mistake a person for a small deer. Once a tiger has mistakenly killed a human in this fashion, it is believed that the animal develops a taste for people and is more likely to kill again. There is an even more gruesome theory. Some believe that the tigers have acquired a taste for human flesh because of the weather. Brutal cyclones frequently batter this region, killing thousands. The rivers and canals are often filled with the bodies of the dead, on which the tigers feast.
All through history, I have seen special circumstances under which all of a sudden there occur what you could call tiger epidemics or tiger plagues. And that is that all of a sudden there is an increase in the number of people being attacked by tigers. And I would say in 9 out of 10 cases that is because there has been a sudden increase in the number of dead bodies of people, dead people. Either because of an epidemic, cholera, smallpox, or because there has been a cyclone, a tornado, a flood. And that's because all of a sudden there is a surplus of human bodies. And tigers thrive. They have more food than they can than they can use.
The list of theories grows, but is inconclusive. The tigers in the Sundarbans are certainly unique, and perhaps the explanation for their behavior can be found by looking not at tigers, but people. Through the late 1800s and early 1900s, tigers were hunted down ruthlessly throughout much of India. But what is less well known is that tigers were taking their own.
Nowadays tiger attacks are rare, but if you go back even a century, or even less, 70 years, tiger attacks were quite normal. I've seen several records, both in India and Indonesia, of the tiger threat becoming so severe, so large, that people just abandoned their villages, that just went away.
Tiger attacks so fierce that they emptied entire villages are hard to comprehend today. There are estimates that as many as 300,000 people were killed by tigers from 1800 to 1900. The answer was obvious. Fewer tigers would mean fewer tiger attacks. Open season was declared on tigers. Closely studying this history challenges the belief that only sick or injured tigers have been man-eaters.
If you read about tiger attacks in the early 19th century, in the 18th or 17th century, they were so frequent that it is impossible to explain such a frequency by assuming that only sick and injured tigers attack people. So I argue that before, let's say, 1850, if they had a chance, they would kill a person, perfectly healthy tigers.
Here in Bandhavgarh, healthy tigers don't hunt humans anymore. Bhumghat believes that tigers can learn from history.